I guess I might as well make a video. Metroidvania. What is a Metroidvania? One of these two games. That's it. That's a wrap. Nah, I'm just joshing, bro. Haha. Look at you. You fell for it. You're not a real gamer because you didn't know. Metroidvania is a subgenre of action-adventure video games. This term is a I'm gonna be real with you. I never learned how to fucking read. This piece of paper in my hand, it's just got emojis on it. I don't really know what's going on. And I stole that definition. And it's not a very good definition, so I'm gonna do my best to describe what I understand this genre to be. Oh, and this is my favorite genre of video games. That's not relevant to your life whatsoever, but this is my video, so you're playing by my rules, fella. Okay, so basically these games get their design ideas from two games. Can you guess what they're called? But within these franchises, I'd say that Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night are most often pointed to when discussing the birth of this genre. Making YouTube videos is weird, like how do you talk? I don't. Now, truth be told, I'm a big Metroid boy, a Boytroid, a Met-Boyd, as we prefer to be called, and I haven't really played a lot of Castlevania, and all in all, I really haven't played a lot of Metroidvanias, but we'll get to that. For right now, you just need to understand that these are the games that inspired this genre. So, what is a Metroidvania? A Metroidvania is kind of like this. You're dropped into a world with a somewhat solid goal in mind. Investigate the station, get in the egg, stop the Dracula. But I think that this genre is best represented by the phrase, the journey matters more than the destination. Mostly in terms of gameplay, but sometimes these games actually have a story, and in those cases, the story as well. So the main gameplay loop of a Metroidvania goes like this. You're dropped into a starting area, a hub area, just some sort of start point, and from there, you're free to explore the game's world in any way that you want. It's a very non-linear experience, but you come to certain paths that are blocked off. An enemy you can't kill, a door you can't open, so the game subtly nudges you in one or maybe a few specific directions. These directions will take you to some form of progression. This will usually be an item or an ability that allows you to finally gain access to those paths that were blocked off before. And that's the key here, is that it's an item or an ability, some sort of new gameplay change, and not just like a key that's red or blue. So that's a nice loop, right? Well, you don't even know the half of it, you simple bitch. I haven't even gotten to the good part yet. See, what's interesting about these games is not only how new paths forwards are unlocked, but how new paths backwards are also unlocked. You see, while you go through all these different winding paths, you'll unlock tons of shortcuts, elevators, hidden paths that take you to other parts or make it easier to get back to your hub area. This obviously leads to a lot of backtracking, and this can completely kill the experience for some people, but I think that the use of abilities and how easy these shortcuts are make traveling through the world both quick and, in my humble little opinion, just a whole lot of fun. So at the beginning of the game, you've got all these dead ends, and then boom, towards the end of the game, you've got this massive, interconnecting map that you know like the back of your big, meaty claw. So that's all swell and good, but you did say that the journey was better than the destination, so what's my incentive to keep playing? Well, listen here, straw man. If that main gameplay loop is not enough for you, we got collectibles. We got character interactions. We got your little breadcrumbs of lore. And if none of that's your cup of tea, we've got the best part. The actual minute-to-minute gameplay. You know, I'm realizing as I sit down to record this that what I love about these games is like the combat and like the platforming and the like tight ass controls, but that's just kind of a coincidence that's not what like puts all these games together in the same field. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, a good majority of them have got fluid movement, excellent combat, whether that be dodging, parrying, bouncing, missiling, they've got it. Oh, and they have excellent bosses. This really is not a review, it's not even a retrospective, I'm just getting carried away and I'm just talking. I am in my room, alone, for weeks, talking. But they really do just feel amazing to play in that minute-to-minute gameplay. And those bosses tie right back into those abilities that I talked about at the beginning. See, these bosses usually tend to be gatekeepers to those abilities, or you fight them right after you get those abilities, so they're like this test to this new ability that you just got, and like you have to prove that you can wield it. So at the beginning of these games, you've got these bosses that are pretty decent, pretty solid bosses, but then by the end of the game, you've got these godly tests of skill and game knowledge that test you on all the different abilities and movement options that you've learned throughout the game. Like, seriously, like, spoiler alert for Hollow Knight, but absolute radiance, just a sight to behold. So there it is, the ends to one of these games, and as observant viewers, you know, the ones who are actually paying attention and not just masturbating to Reddit 50/50 while this plays in the background, will remember, I did say that the journey was better than this destination. So what did I mean by that? Well, a lot of these games, at least the ones that I've played, have one other thing in common, and that's multiple endings. Whether that be in Metroid, where you get to look at Samus more naked the faster you beat the game, or games like Hollow Knight and Blasphemous, where you have this true ending that you gotta do all these monotonous tasks to get to. And here's the part where I get a little conflicted, because as I said earlier, I like the backtracking. I like exploring these worlds to my heart's content. I just love to play these games. But after a while, even in Hollow Knight, collecting that pittance of essence does eventually get a little repetitive. So a part of me thinks that like shitty ending, the one where you only have to explore the world once, is like the best ending, but then, on the other hand, I'm losing my mind here, can you tell? Then, on the other hand, you don't get to get that like awesome gameplay finish of like King's Cross and like fighting the Radiants, unless you do the 100% completion stuff. It's a whole mess. I've come to the conclusion that Metroid had it right with the naked Samus. Because then you just beat the game once and you do it fast and you get to see Samus's titties. And I think that's what we really all want. Like, I guess that's just the pinnacle of game design, huh? We're not ever gonna move past that. Speaking of game design, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the last person to call something like Dark Souls. Aren't you guys so excited? This is the last time it's gonna happen. We're finally in the next decade. The Dark Souls 4 is gonna come out and it's just gonna be the same thing again. But I do just quickly want to bring up that I feel like at least 3 Metroidvanias that I can name have gotten a lot of influence from Dark Souls, and I think more directly than a lot of other games that are quote-unquote like Dark Souls. Hollow Knight, Blasphemous, and 2D Dark Souls, all 3 have those elements of like, oh, you died, better go back to where you died if you want to return to full power and get all your money back. They all 3 have multiple endings, and one of them is literally just Dark Souls. I'm kidding, Salt and Sanctuary. We kid because we care, but also you're a filthy plagiarist and you would have been kicked out of college years ago. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about gameplay. Really quickly, I just want to say that another thing that's completely unrelated to this genre, wow, this is not about Metroidvanias, this is just about like 5 games that I like, but these soundtracks they fucking slap, dude. Well, that's it. Now that I shoehorned in my last couple of little things that I wanted to say, I'm basically done talking about Metroidvanias. I encourage you to go look into it more yourself. Go and give the people who made these games the credit that I'm not really giving them. Now I'm just gonna close this off and recommend a shit ton of Metroidvanias to you. Blasphemous. This one's pretty good. I had a few issues with it, but it was what inspired me to make this video. The non-Metroidvania bundle on Steam has a lot of good Metroidvanias, and none of them are like true Metroidvanias. They're all kind of Metroidvania adjacent. Although I haven't played Guacamelee, so I can't really say anything about that one. Even Salt and Sanctuary, which I kind of ragged on earlier, isn't really a Metroidvania. I'm on this for too long. Go buy that pack if you got money. The classics. Go out and give Metroid and Castlevania a shot. Emulate the games if you have to. I didn't say that. I really enjoyed Symphony of the Night and Metroid Fusion. And shout out to all the 3D games I didn't mention. The Prime games, kind of Jedi Fallen Order, honestly. There aren't a lot of 3D games, but I think they'd be really cool. And then Iconoclast, Ori, Axiom Verge. I'm just listing off names at this point. Hollow Knight, that's my favorite game ever. I'm on my knees for Team Cherry. This game is my life blood. Best game ever. Just good game. Okay, that's all my recommendations. Thank you for watching this video, the mess that it was. Take everything I say with a pinch of salt. This is more of just me talking about about things that I love than like an actual concrete analysis. I ended up straying so far from the script that I wrote a few weeks ago that it's not even recognizable, other than a few jokes that I shoehorned in. I learned a lot about making videos and about talking and making it sound like natural. I didn't do a great job at it, but hey, that's what another video was for. Maybe I'll keep doing this. I want to keep doing this. Thank you so much for watching my first YouTube video in like 2 years and my most well-produced YouTube video, I think. Have a wonderful day, kids.